Hi, Sponsor Cheap Pops, you're on the air.
Silicon Steve Valley, Vladi Dottie, we are here and we are High Spots and Cheap Pops. Goldberg sucks.
We got to talk about him.
What happened now? What did that jerk off do?
That jerk off was on a podcast, and allow me just to go and get the.
By the way, he called Vince a piece of shit before all this stuff came out. So good on him.
That's nice of him. Goldberg was on Nothing Left Unsaid. I believe that's a podcast. And this is our quote from the destroyer of Bret Hart's career. And this is one of my issues with this man. A girl beat my winning streak, beat my undefeated streak. Yeah, I can't even remember. And he's like trying to pronounce her name. Asuka is her name. Some Japanese girl. And they touted her as being the one to have the longest winning streak. And it just so happened that culminated when I got there. And then it just so happened that every single wrestler uses the spear in their moves. Pretty ironic that happened when I got there, right? The fact that I didn't get along with Paul Levesque, Triple H, which is Vince's son-in-law.
Come on.
Yeah. Levesque, I'm sorry. Vince's son-in-law, I think had everything to do with
it. Triple H did not like him. There's a famous video of Triple H when he was training these people, and someone brought up Goldberg, and he just buried Goldberg. He's like,
no heart for what we do.
Like, he killed Goldberg. Because one guy said Goldberg's one of his favorites. And this is when Triple H, I don't even know, it might have been early 2000s. It was probably late 90s, because I think it was before the buyout. So Triple H wasn't even that big of a thing yet. Yeah. And you can tell, like, a lot of guys in the back and a lot of the boys who busted their asses to become great professional wrestlers, this guy, similar to the Ultimate Warrior, didn't know, as the old expression goes, a wrist lock to a wristwatch.
Yep.
And Goldberg didn't have great matches. He never did. We've killed Goldberg in the past, and if you like Goldberg, I apologize. But again, he and the Warrior, complete different characters. But he and the Warrior were very similar, where they really weren't good in the ring. They were all intensity personified. They caught lightning in a bottle where they got popular. But once they were exposed, it was pretty much over. And Goldberg wasn't around long enough to get exposed, but we know what he's done. He ended Bret Hart's career. He had almost killed The Undertaker. And the thing is, he's given big push after big push. I mean, Vince McMahon gave him 2 WrestleMania main events for no reason. And that's where we get this comparison. And for him to besmirch and for him to throw shade at Asuka is a freaking joke. She's 10 times the wrestler than you are, Bill. And, here's the deal. Paul Levesque, because he thinks the way a lot of wrestling fans think, that you're a jerk, that you are not a great pro wrestler. Only people looking for your nostalgia and your big pump so they can rekindle their childhood again are the only ones that like you. But here's the problem is, half the wrestling fans back then didn't like you because they knew you weren't good in the ring, because we never saw a good match with you. Never. You had a bunch of people screaming your name, and that was great. But the fact remains is Bill Goldberg, again, another overrated character who took a lot more from the business than he gave back. Just like Ronda Rousey, if you want to get into her next.
Yeah, and actually, around the time that she beat the streak, Asuka went to Twitter, and she actually wrote, "I respect Goldberg so much. He is amazing. I am honored to be the undefeated champion with the longest streak in WWE history." And to which, guy that you and I both dearly respected and miss, Scott Hall, responded to Asuka's message there. It gave her some gospel of truth here. And he responded and he said, quote unquote, "You're much more talented than Goldberg."
Ain't that the truth?
I mean, it's just beautiful to see that after she went and did that. I can imagine how she felt, where that's a guy that worked with Goldberg and actually helped him defeat into the street.
Cattle prod.
The old cattle prod. Yeah. And he's jumping in on that and telling her, hey, you know what? You are so much more talented than that guy. It's great.
I mean, Goldberg promos aren't terrible, but he just wasn't a good worker. It was all about the intensity, and it was all about the 30 seconds. That's how WWE booked him again when they brought him back. The squash match, not only with the Lesnar one, which was a joke, and then he squashed Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
And it just look, Bill. I've never been a fan of Bill Goldberg my entire life because I came up with guys like watching Macho Man Randy Savage and Ricky Steamboat. That was my favorite match, even as a child in WrestleMania 3. Seeing Macho Man Randy Savage do what he did in WrestleMania 4, wrestling 4 times, having good match after good match. Coming up and seeing them, Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels, and do the things that they did. Mr. Perfect. Those are the guys that I respected. And so when I see a guy like Bill Goldberg come out, it's a joke. Guy sucked. He was not entertaining for me. It was because we know, unless you think it's real, how's that entertaining? It's boring. But hey, he made a lot of money, and again, he took a lot more from the business than he ever gave back. Period. And I'm glad Scott Hall, wisdom from beyond the grave. God bless Scott Hall for telling Asuka that. And I've definitely been more entertained by Asuka matches than I have Goldberg matches, for damn sure.
Yeah. I've even been more entertained with her promos compared to Goldberg matches and promos.
Just screaming in Japanese.
Yeah.
Take that over, Goldberg. Thank you so much for watching High Spots and Cheap Pops. For Vladi Dottie, this is Silicon Steve Alley. Hit the subscribe button and let us know what you think. Thank you for watching, and here endeth the lesson.